Nobody sends you a bill for it. There's no line item. But if you've been chasing more for the last few years, more revenue, more title, more team, more proof, I promise you, you've been paying a tax on it this whole time. And I call this the ambition tax. And today I want to show you exactly what it's been costing you and how to stop overpaying. I'm Shayla Wey, and welcome to your Dream Coach podcast, where leadership fulfillment and growth aren't three different goals, but they're one combined together. And here's the thing about ambition nobody warns you about. It doesn't feel like greed when you're inside it. It feels like responsibility. It feels like this is just what building something requires. You tell yourself the tiredness is temporary, the missed dinners are temporary, the way you talk to yourself when a number doesn't hit, well, that's temporary too. Except it's not temporary. It's a subscription. And most of us never cancel it because canceling it feels like giving up on the dream. Well, here is where it gets tricky for people that I talk to most. Founders and leaders running teams of 2 to 20, you don't always have the luxury of a big corporate machine absorbing your bad weeks. You are the machine. So when ambition goes unexamined, it doesn't just cost you. It trickles down to everyone on your team who's watching how you carry pressure and quietly learning that's what leadership is supposed to look like. But here's what I've learned managing a team and really just building my own brand at the same time is the dream was never supposed to cost you the version of you that you could actually enjoy it. And it definitely wasn't supposed to cost your team that same thing. So let's name the tax specifically because getting really vague, vague guilt doesn't really change behavior. Clarity does. So tax number one is the nervous system tax. Every quarter you run on urgency instead of clarity. Your body pays for it, not later, now. Chronic low-grade stress isn't the price of admission for growth. It's a sign that your ambition has stopped being fueled by vision and started being fueled by fear. And here's the part leaders miss is that your team feels like this before you say a word. They read your nervous system, not your Slack messages. And so how you know you're paying this one, you can't remember the last time that you felt calm and productive at the same time. It's always one or the other. Tax number two is the relationship tax. And this one's sneaky because it doesn't show up as a fight. It shows up as distance, as the people around you learning not to expect your full presence. You don't lose people all at once when you're chasing more. You lose them one distracted dinner at a time. And in a small team, this tax doesn't stay in your personal life. It shows up as the people you lead quietly deciding you're not fully present for them either. And how you know you're paying this one, someone close to you has said some version of, you're not really here in the last month, and you were too busy to sit with it. The third tax is the identity tax. And this is the big one. When your worth gets quietly repegged to your output, ambition stops being something that you have and starts being something that you are. And when that happens, a bad month doesn't just feel like a bad month. It feels like a referendum on you. And so how you know you're paying this one, a single bad week can ruin your whole sense of self for days, not just hours. Tax number four is the culture tax. This is the one that's easy to miss if you're leading a team because it doesn't cost you directly. It costs everyone downstream of you. So when you model unexamined ambition, you're not setting a pace, you're setting a standard. Your team learns what's normal by watching what you tolerate in yourself. And so if you never rest, they'll believe that rest has to be earned. If a bad number makes you disappear, into yourself, you'll learn to hide their bad numbers. They'll learn to hide their bad numbers from you instead of bringing them to you. And so how you know you're paying this one is that your team is more comfortable bringing you good news than bad news. And that gap is the tax in real time. Now, I know what some of you are thinking because I've thought it myself. Isn't some suffering just the price of building something great? Don't all the people we admire talk about the grind, the sacrifice, the seasons that nearly broke them? Well, here's the distinction that matters. Hard seasons are real and sometimes necessary. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the version of ambition that never checks in with itself. The grind that becomes identity instead of a phase. A hard season has an edge to it. You know it's temporary, you're choosing it, and it comes with an end date and a vision to compare it against. And the ambition tax has no edge. It just runs quickly, quietly, indefinitely, presented to you as a commitment. And here's the reframe. Ambition itself was never the problem. Unexamined ambition is the problem. The version that runs on autopilot that never asks, is this dream still mine, or am I just executing on inertia? And so I'll be honest about my own tax bill. I've spent over 20 years leading teams and scaling sales teams. I've recruited over 5,000 salespeople and developed more than 100 managers. And I've been part of building multi-million-dollar teams in sales. And for a long stretch of that, I measured whether I was okay by whether the number was okay. And I remember sitting across from a top performer once, someone crushing every metric we had. And I asked how they were doing. And they said fine. The way that people say fine when they mean numb. And I recognized it because I'd said the exact same thing about myself more than once. In years, I'd call successful on paper. And so that's the identity tax showing up in a spreadsheet. It doesn't look like burnout at first. It looks like consistency. And so here's the part that actually changed something for me. It wasn't just noticing the tax in myself. It was noticing what it was teaching the people I was developing. And I had managers who wouldn't take a sick day because they'd watch me not take one. I had sales reps who wouldn't, tell me if a deal fell through until the end of the day because they learned that bad news kind of made me tense up. And I built that, not on purpose, but I built it. And so that's when unexamined ambition stops being a personal cost and starts being a leadership liability. You can absorb your own tax bill for a while. You can't absorb your whole teams. And I lead a team, I build a brand, I'm writing a book, and I'm by any definition an ambitious person. And I'm not here to tell you that I want less. I'm just here to remind you what I had to learn the hard way, more than once, and watching it happen in myself and in people I was responsible for developing. And that unexamined ambition will happily spend every part of you it can get access to if you let it. So here's what I actually do now and what I'd ask you to try this week. Once a quarter, I ask myself one question. Is this still my dream or is this momentum? Not rhetorically, but actually sitting with it. The second is I protect one thing a week that has zero strategic value. No content, no networking angle, no growth in it, just something I want because I want it. And the third thing is I watch for the identity tax specifically. When a bad week starts to feel like a verdict on who I am instead of a data point about what happened, that's my signal to step back, not lean in harder. Fourth, and this is this one's for anyone really leading people, I ask my team directly what they think is normal here based on what they see me do. Not what I say, what they see. It's an uncomfortable question, and it's the fastest way to catch the culture tax before it compounds. And fifth is I keep a running answer to one question. What would I be building right now if it weren't afraid of what happens if I slow down? I don't always act on the answer immediately, but I write it down every quarter and I watch whether the answer changes or stays exactly the same. And if it stays the same for too long, that's usually the dream talking. And if it keeps shifting to match whatever is urgent that month, that's usually the tax talking. So ambition isn't the enemy. Ambition without an audit is. So let's recap the bill because clarity is the whole point of this episode. The nervous system tax showing up as stress that you've mistaken for normal. The relationship tax showing up as a distance you've mistaken for busyness. The identity tax showing up as a bad week you've mistaken for a verdict on you. And the culture tax showing up as a team that only brings you good news. None of those are the price of ambition. They're the price of ambition you've stopped examining. So if this hits something for you, I want you to hear which tax you're paying right now. The nervous system one, the relationship one, the identity one, or the culture one. You can DM me or drop it in the reviews. I read every single one. Until then, continue to dream bigger and lead better. I'll see you next time on your Dream Coach podcast.